Hello and welcome, everyone. This is Rudiger, Posbo, Rudiger Dude. I'm here with a Suikoden playthrough. This will be another attempt at 108 stars. I will break it down into segments of unknown duration at this point. This is one of my favorite games from back in the day for a couple of different reasons, which hopefully I will elaborate on as we get to the different things that separate it from other RPGs. I'm just going to go ahead and let us sit through this introduction. This is what happens when you load the game and don't actually start anything yet. So I can talk a little bit. The combat system in this is turn-based. There are 6 characters in your unit at a time. 108 characters can be recruited throughout the course of the game. You can see here that there are more than one combat systems, as you just saw in the overworld war. The art is pretty cool in this, and obviously it's from 1998 or something like that, so the graphics aren't really up to snuff. I'm actually looking at the 1996, looking at the cartridge or the CD. Most of my games are going to be actually on the console rather than emulated or something along those lines, which is I think cool, a little bit different than what a lot of people do nowadays, and I just want to do some retro stuff. But now that that is over, we will go ahead and get started. This will not be a speed run, but I am going to try and move it along pretty fast. It's not the first time I've ever played this game, so some of the stuff I'm going to know by default. And then I've also been watching a few runs recently to refresh myself, and I've picked up some tricks from them as well. You can name your character anything for this game. I have always named him Nemo, so I will continue that trend, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm not going to run a timer or anything like that, although that is something in the future I will probably do. This is my first real official video, even though I've done this one before and canceled it, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try and go through the text a little bit slow so that anyone that's watching can read it, but I'm probably not going to read all of it myself just because of the fact that I know a lot of what's going on. Backstory: we are Nemo McDole, son of Tio McDole, which is the gentleman in the middle there that's talking. We are he is a high-ranking member of the Imperial Army, one of Barbarossa's 5 generals, I believe. Barbarossa is the Emperor. We just saw a key character over on the left speaking. Her name is Wendy. She will come up quite frequently. Anyone in this game who has a portrait like Barbarossa is important. It means that you can either recruit them or they are bad guys and you will end up fighting them. Sometimes it's a mix of both. There's not a whole lot unique about the story from this game. They'll try and throw a couple of curveballs at you, and I feel like even back in 1996 nothing really unique came out of that. Barbarossa is sending Tio to the northern front, which is actually really cool. If you play or have played or will play Suikoden 2, that is where the northern front takes place. So all of the games really take place in the same world, and you get to interact a little bit with the characters and stuff like that in between the games, which is really cool. So one of the reasons you play Suikoden 1 before Suikoden 2 is because at some point in Suikoden 2 you will come back and you will interact with some of the characters here, and that doesn't really have a huge impact on it, but it does have a small impact on the game. Tio is taking control. We have now gotten our mission for Nemo. Nemo is a new member of the Imperial Army himself. He is a intro level character, and we are just going back home to rest before Tio leaves and Nemo starts in the morning. This is Gremio. Gremio is a friend of the family. He really helps out around. He does the cooking and cleaning, so you might consider him a butler, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Yeah, very important character. This is our good friend Ted. Ted is an interesting character, which we will discover as the game progresses here in a short bit. He's very interested in Lady Wendy, and that's going to come up very quickly in this playthrough. So we just told our story of what happened and how we met the Emperor and how we met Wendy. And Ted has got a secret that he wants to tell us, but it's not time because it's supper time. So let's go eat. So now Tio is going to tell everyone that he's going to the north tomorrow, and everyone needs to take care of Master Nemo. We have Cleo on the left, Pawn, Gremio, and Ted on the right. This is going to start our first little entourage. Like I said, there are 6 characters in battle. Obviously, we're only going to start with these 5. The basic battle system is pretty cool. There is usually a common theme in the games I play, and then that kind of keep me interested. One of them is a very cool battle system, or multiple battle systems that are cool, and the other is amazing music. I actually love video game music. I've been to the Final Fantasy 7 or the Final Fantasy orchestra that's traveled around Distant Memories. Listen to a lot of Zelda or Halo, stuff like that. I just think the music is really cool in a lot of video games. It's a little underrated, but you'll be able to hear a lot of the music for this game. So one trick I'm going to try that I saw in a speed run is getting the Holy Rune early on. It's really important for speedruns because, as you can see, the pace that I'm moving right now is the only pace at which you can move until you get the Holy Rune. So I'm going to try and get the Holy Rune that way, and it drops off of a mob. And based on the fact that, oh goodness, based on the fact that this is not the same thing that I saw in the speedrun, we'll see what happens. I think I need to fight the moths in order to get it. So I'll take a second to explain the combat once we get in. We'll go over the menu options here. So you have all of these things. We'll do fast, normal, speed, opaque background, make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. Equipment is your typical equipment. You're going to be able to equip everyone with a helmet, armor, shield, and 2 others, which are basically trinkets or something along those lines. However, this game is cool in the fact that certain items can only be equipped by certain people or certain sexes. So Cleo is a girl, she can wear a circlet. I don't have any other girls on my team, so none of them can wear a circlet. And formation, you can move your characters around. So Pawn is a S character, which means he can only attack from the front row, unless of course he has magic or a rune or something like that. Nemo and Gremio are M, which means they can attack from the front or the back. And then Cleo and Ted are both long range, so they can attack from the front or the back. They're a little bit squishier, so you tend to keep them in the back, but also because they are long range, they can attack the back row of the enemy's formation. Runes are how you're going to get your magic, and if you see just below the names of them, you can see their health, and then you see the star or sun. That's going to be how many magic abilities of each level that you have. So there are 4 levels. As you level up, you will gain access to more levels and be able to cast more magic spells, which is very old school, like D&D RPG type magic skills. So sometimes you'll be sleeping just to refresh your magic, even though you don't need to refresh your HP. Strength is just a status screen, so it's going to show you how much XP you have versus how much XP, attack, armor, etc., etc. You have the weapon that you have equipped, which you don't get to really change the weapon, but as you level it up, it will change on its own. So right now Nemo has the Wolf Fang Staff. Once we level it up, it will change to a different one. And then level plus on the other side is how much attack damage it has. And then items are pretty neat in this game. All 4 of these items are blue because they are equipped, and then you have the other items that you have in your inventory for that character. So if we are in combat or outside of combat and I want to use medicine on Nemo, I have to use his medicine. Every other character can hold their own items and stuff like that as well. So the inventory can get filled up pretty quickly. And then once your inventory is full, if another item drops, you will have to throw away something that you have and then go from there. Alright, with that being said and done, let's go ahead and see if we can kill this moth guy, or moth ball, for the holy rune. So the speedrunners have their step count down so that they step at the right spots at the right time, and as soon as they get to this spot here, they get their fight, and then they go inside and get the holy rune, which allows you to run faster in cities and zones. The world map here isn't actually something that you get to move faster in unless you have the true holy rune, which allows you to move faster, and only one character in the entire game has that. So I assume once a speedrun gets started, they will always have that character in their party, but I haven't watched a full speedrun of this game. I meant to explain the combat and I forgot, so let me do that. Hey, there's the thing. Alright, so you have options here. For speedruns, you often see them use run and free will. Free will is everyone basically does an auto attack, and that means it's just faster. If you go to fight, everyone will have their own menu: attack, defend, magic, item, and unite attack. So if you've ever played Chrono Trigger on Super Nintendo, that has a team up attack, a unite attack similar to this. This one, it's based on character. So right now, the only one I have access to is Gremio and Pawn, and it will highlight the 2 characters that are using the attack, and then you choose your target. Otherwise, it's just your typical turn-based combat system. One kind of cool thing about this game is if you are attacking multiple targets, or if you hit the free will and you're attacking multiple targets specifically, your characters can attack at the same time, which speeds up the slightly monotonous grinding of typical turn-based combat. There's still going to be a lot of random encounters, a lot of fighting, which is very unfortunate for most runs, but we will try and get through all of the boring combat pretty quickly. Not going to be running all that often. Once I get to a certain level, mobs will stop. It will stop saying run and it will start saying let go. That's basically saying, hey, you're higher level than these guys. You can run away for free. Because as most games are, when you try and run away, it doesn't always work. So you'll see that a lot in the speedruns, that they try and it's an RNG deal breaker where you get three runs in a row essentially resisted, and then your run is over because that takes so much time away, and your characters die because you just get hit for free. Pawn has a status effect over him. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. Oh, it's poison. Found it. And I do not have any antidote, so I'm just going to let him die, and then I'll resurrect him with a medicine. So I think what I'm going to do is just grind this out really quickly and then edit all of the stuff out so you don't have to see it. For that, I do want to explain the experience system. You'll see that most of my characters are going to hover around the same level always. You would expect that for a situation where everyone is alive, but you'll also notice that if one of my characters dies, he very quickly catches up in experience. That's because the experience in this game is a little bit different than most games. Instead of a mob dropping 12 experience every time, it basically has a threshold to catch up to where you're supposed to be for that content. So oftentimes, if I get a new character and want it to get to level very fast, I can take it into a zone with the rest of my strong characters, one-shot the mob or all of the mobs in the thing, and my main characters will get maybe 12, 15 experience, whereas the lower level character will literally get 15 levels. And that's just a mechanic that they have because there are so many characters in the game. If you want to level all of them, they made it a little bit faster and easier for us. Plus, you want to be set up for boss fights and whatnot, which also makes speedrunning pretty interesting because of the fact that you don't have to spend 15 minutes of a speedrun just grinding. You just get to kill 3 or 4 groups of mobs, or as you go there are certain fights that you have to fight, and those do a really good job of leveling you up very fast. So I am going to free will and try and farm this holy rune real quick, and I will catch back up to you instantaneously if you're watching the YouTube video. Alright, we're back, and we don't have a holy rune. I don't feel like grinding until I get it. It's already been 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes extra, something like that. So we'll just continue with the story and just be slow. It's okay. Worse things have happened in life. So what we are supposed to do based on the story is once we wake up, we're supposed to come talk to Craze to get our first mission. He needs us to go to the Magician's Island, and it is northeast of the main city, Gregminster, that we are in. And in order to get there, we will have to use a dragon to fly. Be prepared. Game of Thrones, eat your heart out. This dragon is far superior to anything that you guys could have mustered up at HBO. Just kidding, that series was pretty good up to the last couple seasons. But we will run over here. We'll make a new friend. 2 new friends, actually. Futch is an apprentice dragon knight, and Black is his dragon. I don't think I would consider dragon cute, unless it's a baby, but Futch is who he wants to be. Ted is being rambunctious per usual, and he's about to let something slip. Him and Futch are getting at it, and he says, I happen to be 300 years... and then he gets cut off and remembers that he's not supposed to say any of that stuff. So that goes to show his secret. You can probably extrapolate 300 years old, and we will explain why. He will explain why that happens here shortly. And the 2 of them fighting again, saying, hey, I don't mind if one of you guys falls out. Cough, cough, Ted. Ted gets a pretty rough beat throughout this game, but he's an okay guy in my book. Sweet little cutscene where none of my characters are actually visible and the dragon just soars away, but there's a basket there somewhere that all of us are in. We are now on the Magician's Island. I'm not sure if the game actually mentioned. Lady Leaknot is the magician we are going to see. And let's get us some treasures after we kill some of these hollies. You'll notice I'm much stronger than I'm supposed to be. I'm already level 7, level 8. Because of all of the excessive and silly grinding that I did to try and find the holy rune unsuccessfully. But we will survive. It does make things significantly faster to get it, so even if I were to continue grinding for 10 minutes, it would still shave off time. I don't actually remember the first time you get access to a holy rune, because it has been quite a while in this game, but getting it at the very beginning is a pretty cool situation to be in. Sorry, got distracted there. And I should just be letting these guys go and running. I don't actually need to kill them. As I was talking about earlier, I'm barely getting any experience from these guys because of the fact that I'm the level that I am. We're about to fight our first boss, so I'm going to move a couple items over. No one can equip the robe, it seems. So let's go ahead and hand it over to Pawn. Hand this over to Nemo. This is one of the most annoying parts of the game, is having to move the items back and forth between the characters in order to equip them. It gets a little bit easier when you are buying things because you just get to tell them where to go, but we just met Luke. I always called him Luck as a kid, but I'm pretty sure its name is Luke. And he summoned a golem, an earth golem, with the wind rune. One of the many things that happens with the wind rune that shouldn't really happen. But Luke is a really cool character. We actually get to see him in all the first 3 games, I believe. So he becomes a cool character. I wasn't a huge fan of him the first playthrough of this game, but then once I played the 3rd iteration, I actually started to like him quite a bit. Now we are just going to run up these stairs to get to the top of the tower, where we will meet Lady Leaknot. She will give us the astral runes or astral something, but not before we have a cool conversation. She's also going to call me cute, which happens to be true. I mean, how could you resist someone in such beautiful, elegant garb? Hey, there she is. Again, she has a face, which means a portrait, not a face. Of course she has a face. She has a portrait, and that means she's a relevant character, as you would probably suspect from someone that looks so cool as her. My team is going to just let me go talk to her alone, where she will not only give me the astral projections or whatever that I came to get, but also she'll tell me, astral conclusions, she'll also tell me that I am fated to be an important person, which I already knew that because I chose my name and I'm kind of the main character of a game. So you're a little late, Leak Not. She's also going to say that we will meet again, and it's because she wants to, not because the stars have said so. Just a typical conversation of, hey, we need to get out of here. It took forever, even though it only took like 25 seconds. She's going to have Luke do something the Wind Rune can't really do, which is teleport us back down to the beach, where Futch is still waiting. And again, apparently this took a very long time in game time. She gives Cleo the Fire Rune, which I will attach it once I get back to town. It doesn't have to go on Cleo. Most of the runes that you get in this game you can attach to anyone. But the Fire Rune basically always goes on Cleo. She's going to be in my party for a little bit anyway, so I might as well utilize that feature. Just more conversation. Everyone hop on the dragon, get back to Gregminster. I apologize if I'm going through this text too fast. Back home we go, where we will immediately go to our second mission. We will meet a very cool character. And by that I mean he's an awful character. But it's a typical crony in a video game. I will let Futch and Black do their date thing as I go get my next mission. One thing I didn't talk about was the banter between Cleo and Pawn. They said he was in a rush to get home, and she said it's just because he's hungry, which I can fully support. Getting things done so that you can eat is a very important matter. But now he's going to be disappointed because we have another mission. So Craze is sending us on our next mission. Kanan over in the side, which I never know actually how to pronounce his name, but we'll call him Kanan now. We'll call him Kanan later, who knows? Being his brown-nosing self gets yelled at. So we need to go to Rockland to the east to meet up with Grady so that he can pay his taxes. And Kanan will go with us, so off we go. No stopping at the house, however we will make a pit stop at the rune crafter, I suppose, in order to attach our fire rune, which we don't need at all right now, because we are so high level. We can basically run away or let go every mob that we're about to encounter. Another thing we picked up earlier is a question mark pot. Oftentimes those can be really good, whether you sell them or not, but you can also you put them in your castle. The one thing I haven't mentioned at this point is, oh, failure. Terrible. One thing I haven't mentioned is that we are going to get a castle at some point, which is where we will do all of our recruiting. I'm hopefully going to get to the point where we get our castle today, and that's where we will stop. That will be our first segment, but we shall see if anything goes wrong in between now and then. It shouldn't. The only difficult boss that I will face is the boss in the castle. I actually died on it the last time I tried this. I'm going to save, so that's not really a run killer, but that boss is kind of difficult. Now that we're in Rockland, we're just going to go straight to Grady. His assistant is going to tell us to get out of here, and then Kanan is going to step up and say, "Hey, we're with the Empire. Get Grady out here." So now he will come out. He will let us know why he hasn't paid his taxes. It's because there are brigands out farther to the east in the mountain that are bandits that have taken the money or something like that, and we're going to go stop that, as we are fine, upstanding members of the Imperial Army. And then once we get back, he's going to pay us. So he actually has the money right now, but we just have to do this task for him to get it, which doesn't seem very logical. Like, we're here for the money, give us the money. But we'll do it. Pawn is excited. Ted is excited. Both of them want to fight. I will answer it, of course, as well. There are a couple of situations in this game, one of which just showed up, where I get to choose different options for conversations. Most of those are irrelevant, because it will either make me go through, it will repeat over and over again, or it won't actually matter, and we will just continue on and do the thing anyway. Marco here is another portraited character. This is where you gamble early on in the game so you can get gold. I don't actually know the algorithm or any of the steps in order to just do it very quickly, so I'll quit. I have a little bit extra money from the grinding anyway, so not a big deal. But later on we will be recruiting Marco onto our team. Not all characters in this game that are recruited are usable in combat. So once we get our castle, we will have to have people to upkeep the castle. We'll have an inn, we'll have an item shop, an armor shop, and stuff like that. So all of those characters aren't actually playable in combat, but they are used in the castle itself. Now, there's also a second combat system that we saw in the intro, the overworld war, and all 108 characters can participate in that. And this game is actually really, it's probably a bad mechanic, but it's still cool. There are groups of units, basically battalions as it were, that go into combat with me for those big fights, and it's more or less a rock paper scissors type of thing, where, you know, I attack with my archers, they attack with their swordsmen, and swordsmen are weak to archers, so I will win that combat and deal more damage, etc., etc. We'll see that once we get there. But because of that combat system, you can actually get permadeath. So if you send the wrong group of people into combat, they can get injured or killed. And when they are killed, they are dead in the game. So you don't have access to those characters anymore, which is funny and also bad, because if any of them die, you actually cannot complete the 108 stars challenge. So that will be something that I'll be working on, is hopefully not dying in any of those big combats. In addition to the big combat, there's 1v1 combat which comes up, where you will just be Nemo or something along those lines versus one other character in a duel. And that is, again, also very rock, paper, scissors, except for the fact that before the enemy attacks, they always say something which lets you know what they're going to do. So it's a weighted rock, paper, scissors that you have to win, again, because if you lose that duel, bad things will happen. So we are about to encounter our second boss, the Ant Queen, and something very important is going to happen here. I'm going to fight this Bandit King in the middle, hopefully get something good from him. If you were watching when I was scrolling through the Strength tab or the Rune tab, you would have seen that our friend Ted has something in the Rune category that is question mark, question mark, question mark. And that's about to show up. We can't actually hit the Ant Queen in the back, and she continuously summons more ants over and over and over again. So what the group is going to do is run away, and then Ted's going to step up and deal with this himself, with this unknown rune he has. I might die here. This is bizarre. Okay, there we go. I was like, I don't remember her casting that and killing my team ever before. Kanan being scared, saying, "Hey, help me." Ted steps up to the plate and takes care of things. He'll go into combat, and I can't control anything, and he's going to use this really cool rune, which we don't know what it is. No one really does. Kanan is going to take interest in this, and that's going to come up once we get done with this. But until now, Ted saved the day. Hooray, Ted! Again, Ted says he can't really explain what happened at this point, but we'll talk later. I have all of these items. Don't want to use them. I don't need to use them just yet anyway, so. Moving along. Oop, missed the treasure chest. Earlier I picked up a defense rune piece. That is just an item that I can use, and it will increase my defense. That was a thunder rune piece. That's going to be slightly different. Let's go ahead and get our first save on here. "45 minutes, that is terrible. But we're going to pick up the pace a little bit here if we can. The thunder rune piece is something that you attach to your weapon, and you have a thunder attribute. We are now encountering Vargas and Sidonia. They will introduce themselves here. They think we think they are tax thieves, so we accuse them of such. Vargas is the whirlwind axe. Sidonia, he doesn't really care. Now, Pawn tries to play their game, and Cleo tells him to shut up. Bandits are about to run out of the house, and we will start our back-to-back fights. Don't think we have magic yet. Nope. So we'll just free will auto attack these guys down really fast. Again, you can see the cool part of this game. 4 of my characters attacked 4 different targets and one-shot them. And they all did it at the same time. So it's a little bit faster than your typical game, which I am very thankful for. Now, I'm going to have Gremio and Pawn attack Sidonia with the Unite attack, which is going to kill him. And then everyone else is going to attack Varkas, except for Cleo. And now we're just going to auto-attack Varkas to death, although I should have just used the Unite attack again. Lucky crit. Better lucky than good. You can see, even though we're still high level, we're getting a decent experience. We got decent experience from those guys because they are a boss. We captured the thieves. And now it's time to leave. And we literally just teleport to the front. Apparently, Kanan is very, very eager to get out of here. So he uses this weird teleport to get us to the front. He didn't actually use anything. It's just we teleported to the front, which is good. Most of the time we have to use an escape talisman. And later on we will get a magic mirror. No, that teleports us to cities. I don't know if we get a rope or something that lets us get out of every dungeon. Maybe we just have to use the escape talismans every time. Now that we're back in Rockland, we are turning over Varkas and Sidonia, who are talking about how Grady and the Empire are actually the bad guys. One thing I didn't mention, Varkas and Sidonia are obviously important characters because of the fact that they have portraits. We just got 10,000 bits for tax, but Kanan will hold on to it. So the game was doing us a funny, saying we got 10,000 bits, and then we lost it. I just would have gambled it away anyway. So now we are going to go back to Gregminster, and that will be our first 2 missions, first day of work completed. So we can go home and celebrate. Kanan will take over. He will report back to Craze, and everyone's very grateful. We're just going to go back to the house and eat. Ted's excited about the good cooking. However, Kanan says he's going to need Ted to go to the castle with him. And obviously that is because of the rune that he used. Kanan expressed interest in his own head, and now he's going to go report to Craze. We're not going to wait for him. We're just going to go ahead and eat. Cleo and Pawn banter back and forth about he'd be eating anything regardless of what it is. Gremio is going to bring us some tea. Ted's late. Where's Ted? Let's go see if we can find Ted. Oh no, Ted! What's wrong? Ted is injured at our house. That's not good. But we're going to help him up because we're good guys, even though the game does give us an option to not help, which is rather hilarious. But we are going to help because we're good friends. So we take him upstairs, put him in the bed, and now the group is going to talk about trying to figure out what happened. And they notice that he has a magic wound. You can hear thunder and lightning in the background. Ted's asking for help, saying something about the Imperial Guard. Now we're going to get a vision of what actually happened. Ted's hungry. Kanan tells him to shut up. Craze is talking to Wendy. Told you she was important. And now Ted gets to meet Wendy, that dream he always wanted. It's been a while, little man. 300 years. So that means Wendy's also 300 plus years old, and neither of them have really changed in that time. Ted sees her, calls her a witch. They remember one another. She wants the rune that's on his right hand, and Ted says no way, he'd basically rather kill himself. So he's going to utilize the rune here. It's called the Soul Eater. It's the cursed rune. He's going to cause a ruckus and escape. I'm sure there was a bigger battle than that. Otherwise, he shouldn't really have gotten wounded. I would expect 300 years he knows how to use the rune pretty efficiently. Even though I know a little bit more about the rune than you guys, so I won't spoil it. Pawn is questioning what's going on. Maybe we should contact the Imperial Guard. Gremio gets mad at Pawn, saying, hey, no, just chill. Chill, bro. But Pawn doesn't want to cause any trouble with Master Tio being away. So we'll all wait for Ted. I'll talk to Pawn. He's going to go get some medicine, even though we have 200 medicine in our inventory right now. Ted's about to wake up. Gremio's asking about the Soul Eater, and Ted's going to ask him or us to take it. He's had it for 300 years. This is a long time, especially with as bad as his luck has been. 27 true runes, Cleo asks. There are 27 true runes. We will encounter some of them throughout the playthrough of this game and other games. He's saying that Wendy is after him, and she wants the rune. He made a mistake using the rune at Mount Saifu, which the Queen Ant would have killed us otherwise. Never, I guess it wouldn't have killed him. It's also kind of funny that he's been alive for 300 years and he's just now hitting level 8. He's giving us the rune. And telling us to never let the rune fall into Lady Wendy's hands. As of right now, we're starting to unravel a little bit of what's going on. Barbarossa and Wendy are close. And Wendy, according to Ted, is a bad guy. So we can assume that Barbarossa is also a bad guy. So we are now working for a corrupt empire. We just heard a noise at our front gate. It looks like Pawn is a turncoat, and he went to get the Imperial Guard because, again, he doesn't want anything to happen with Master Tio away. So that's where his allegiances lie. I can understand that. I don't support it, but I can understand it. Craze and Kanan are very clearly bad guys just from the way that they look. So I'm not too worried about that. Ted wakes up and again is going to save the day. They still think he has the rune, so he's going to turn himself in while we run away. And then everyone in the Empire is going to be searching for us because they think we're bad guys. Fugitives, which based on what's happened here doesn't fully make sense, but So far, not a whole lot needs to make sense. Ted just mentioned that we are his only friend that he's had in 300 years. It's a pretty long time to be alone, if you ask me. The inn is the only place that we can actually go. All the other doors are locked. Marie, another portraited face, helps us out. She knows who we are. So we're going to hide out in the attic of the inn. Gremio is here often, so she's just going to put it on our tab. Or Gremio communicates with them often. I don't know if he actually comes here very often. We're going to do something foolish and roam around in the middle of the night while the Imperial Army is looking for us. We run into some Imperial people and, again, cause some trouble. I'll be bold. Tell them to shut up. They think we look like the fugitive, which we are, so they are correct. But our savior is going to rescue us. No, I don't mean Ted. No, I don't mean Pawn. We get our boy Victor, who was up in the inn's dining room eating, and tries to explain to them that why would he be hiding here? That's stupid. And he takes control and kicks us out. But in reality, he was just skipping out on his bill, because that's Victor's way. Why spend money? You don't have to. You got a glimpse of this move speed increase of a holy rune, but no one actually has one. Victor is just in a hurry to get out of there. Now that we are in Gregminster and we don't really have anywhere to go, we need to talk to Victor, because he's actually going to get us out of here. And he actually wants us to talk to someone else if we get out. I trust you, Victor. You have a portrait. He tells us to go to the gates. We will go to the gates. And Victor will work his magic and get us out of Gregminster. He's actually going to pay the guard to take a break, and we're going to ask him where he got money, because he just didn't have any for his bill, and then Gremio will realize that his wallet is missing, which is pretty funny. So we basically bribed our way out, but Victor did it for us with our money. Lessons learned. So now that he has gotten us out of Gregminster, he wants us to meet someone. We are going to go to Linen Camp. It is due south of this area. So one thing you might be asking yourself is, if we are fugitives and we need to recruit people, how are we going to recruit people in an area which we are fugitives? And the answer to that is simple. We are going to leave the Empire, or the direct Empire area, and all of the faces that we've encountered that we can recruit are actually also going to leave. So there's no one in this area that we need to be here to recruit. All of them will be leaving this area, so it's very convenient for us. The plan we're currently making is to go north to talk to our father, so that hopefully he can clarify or help us out, because he is a high-ranking officer, and if we go to him, then he will probably be able to help us out. While we're talking about that, and we're talking about Pawn betraying us, the Imperial Army comes in and causes a lot of noise, but everyone thinks that, or Gremio thinks that Victor is the cause of that. But I trust Victor. He wouldn't do that to us. So we can fight our way out, we can sacrifice our way, or we can just go behind this clock and talk to this person. Odessa. Thank God for you and your secret passage. She is the leader of the rebellion, Lady Odessa Silverberg, which we are about to learn about. Oh, did I go too far? We're also going to meet other members of the rebellion. Victor is one of them. What a great guy. We have Lightning Flick in the blue. We have Sanchez next to Flick. Lady Odessa, obviously. And then Humphrey on the southwest corner of the table. He never really talks. He's a stout warrior, though. Victor explains that we are the son of Tio McDowell, and we are fugitives, and they're trying to convince us to join the Liberation Army. So we answered there, maybe we should join the Liberation Army. It's another option that they hadn't considered, as they were just going to go north to talk to their father. We're not going to join, says Gremio. Cleo's kind of open to the idea, but what would we do about Master Tio? As I alluded to earlier, there may be some corrupt things going on inside of the Empire, but obviously we trust our father. He's never really led us astray. As we try and leave, it turns out that there is an injured man who finds us, and he's talking about the bandits of Mount Saifu, Farkas and Sidonia. Those are the two people that we just captured for the Empire, and they're saying that they're going to execute them, which is technically against the law, I believe. So we will nominate ourselves to go help them. We just explained what happened, and now they're going to say, okay, well, we'll go. Victor's going to join us. Keep an eye on us. And since they think Grady is shady, even Gremio is going to be on board. So Victor is now in our party. I'm going to change our formation because Victor is an S, which means he can only attack from the front row. Before I leave here, even though I don't think I need to because of my level, I'm going to visit the blacksmith and level up my stuff. This is the armory. I'm going to see if there are any items for me to buy. Definitely going to sell some stuff. Before I do this, I actually need to move some items around. So Cleo is pretty fast, so I'll give her that. Victor is very slow, so I'm going to give him medicines so that he can use them outside of combat for us. And then I'm going to see who can use these leggings. Let's give them to Cleo. Can't have a lady walking around with bare legs. Not in this day and age. I'll buy a pointed hat for Nemo. +1 armor for 1,000, probably not worth it. Alright. Didn't really get much done there, but oh well. I guess I have an extra pair of boots on me. Let's change these to Victor. Victor needs boots. He had one boot on. Now he has 2 boots on. I bet he can run really fast. I'm not sure who I want to put the Thunder rune on. I know I want to use the Defense rune on Pawn. Once he joins us again, which he will, because he's our bro. He actually plays an important role in being able to acquire all 108 stars. So I'm just leveling up my weapons here. Nemo's always going to be in my party, so I'm going to level his weapon up all the time. We just changed from the Wolf Fang Staff to the Dragon Fang Staff by hitting level 5. Every blacksmith that you encounter will have a max level that they can level your weapon up to. This also happens to be the most expensive aspect of the game, so if you are trying to get all 60 or so playable characters to max level and max weapon skill, it's going to take a while. I believe Cleo needs to level up once so that she can use magic. She doesn't have access to any at the moment, but I'm still going to let go of these guys. Double check and make sure she has it equipped. Yeah, she has it equipped. So as of right now, we are just running back towards Rockland, and apparently getting in a million fights on the way. And we will attempt actually going to sleep, because that might be something that I need to do for Cleo to get magic back. Don't know for sure though. I shouldn't have to, because I'm pretty sure we slept recently. This guy isn't going to let us in, but he says if we stick around we'll get strung up like those bandits. So we're going to move over here to the side. Victor is going to take matters into his own hands in order to let us in. And he's going to start a fire. Now that they are distracted with the fire, we are going to run in and save our friends. However, this place is rather heavily guarded. I don't know why I hit run there. Didn't mean to. So we're going to kill a bunch of these guards along the way. Pick up a couple items. The last group we fight is actually 6 of them, and it could be challenging. And usually I just use a level 2 fire spell with Cleo, but I don't know if she's going to be high enough level, which is very bizarre. Okay, she has it. I guess she just didn't get it until we walked in here. One aspect of the combat that I haven't really talked about is the dodge slash counterattack. There you saw there was both a dodge from Nemo at the end and a counterattack dodge from the other guy. Those are really devastating, actually. You can go from full to dead very quick when you attack, miss, they hit you, and then they attack you again. It's one thing to watch out for. Really glad I didn't buy that brass armor earlier. I'm also really glad I put the pointed hat on Nemo, because he's been hit quite a bit. He's just not having much luck. Victor with the mollywop on the center guy one-shots him. Pretty sure there's nothing in that room over to the right, but I am going to use some medicine just in case something weird happens in this fight. It should be over in one turn. Cleo goes pretty fast and she can Firestorm, which is a second level fire spell, which hits everyone and should just kill them. She's doing her Thanos impression and snapping her finger, casting a big old fire spell. Another interesting, cool aspect of this game is there are multiple levels to a lot of the runes. So we have the base fire rune, and that gives us access to 4 levels of magic. If we get the second level of fire rune, I believe it's called the flare rune, it will give us access to a level 5 spell, but we lose our level 1 spell. So certain runes that is an upgrade for. So the fire rune, having access to more firestorms like we just did, is really, really powerful. Other runes, losing your level 1 heal, for example, could be very bad. We just rescued Varkas and Sidonia, and after we cut Varkas down, Sidonia just teleported out, and Varkas asked him why he didn't do that before. And he said, well, I can't just escape on my own. So luckily we came and showed them. But that shows you how shifty Sidonia is. Definitely looks like an untrusty character. We ran into Grady, who is basically saying, hey, stop doing that. I'm going to tell on you. And then Varkas and Sidonia threatened to kill them. We now are parting ways, sorry, words, with Varkas and Sidonia, but they owe their lives to the Liberation Army, so we are going to say nice things to Odessa when we return. At this point, we haven't really done anything so devastating that they wouldn't be able to take us back into the Imperial Army, but you can probably surmise that we are going to join the Liberation Army anyway, as that is the path that the game is allowing us. I would actually think it would be a cool idea for them to have a game like this where you get to choose which path you take. Being on the Imperial Army, but if that were the case, the Liberation Army would have to be a little bit stronger than they currently are. But Odessa wants to show us some information, and she's showing us a fire spear. She's going to explain that the Liberation Army is really small right now, but at some point they're going to have to fight the Imperial Army, and when they do, they're going to need a weapon to turn the tides. So with the fire spear plans that she just got, she wants us to go with her to turn in the plans to a blacksmith for them to make us the fire spears. Gremio is not having any of this. Again, he thinks we're still in the situation that we could go back to the Imperial Army. But Nemo says, no, I'm my own man. I'm going to follow my own plans. Cleo's going to follow us, and then obviously Gremio is going to follow us without really wanting to, but that's his duty. So where are we going? We're going northwest of Linden Camp. Flick is thinking we could be an Imperial spy, which doesn't really make sense based on the conversation that we just had, but Odessa trusts us and is going to actually go with us along the way. Similar to Ted, she's a low level, which you would expect a leader of the Liberation Army to be high level, but this game doesn't always make sense. So we're going to leave here and go to the northwest to try and turn in the plans for the fire spear. Oop. Come on, Bon Bon. I actually looked back at the speedrun during my hiatus trying to find the Holy Rune, and it turns out that the Bon Bon that we just killed doesn't actually drop it. I think it's from the bees. And I killed a lot of those bees, and they didn't drop it, so... if I ever want to speedrun this game, I'll have to figure out what methodology they utilize to get that to show up. We're going to equip some gear here on characters. I know I literally just gave Cleo the leggings and forgot that I was about to get a circlet. So I guess we will equip the leggings onto Gremio. Odessa starts at level 6, which again is pretty low given that she's the leader of the Liberation Army, but she's not necessarily a fighter. You don't have to be a fighter to be a leader. But the best generals fight on the front lines with their men and women, in my opinion. These snails are pretty cool, so I'll go ahead and fight them so you can hopefully see their cool attack. It just extends its head and headbutts us instead of using its giant rock shell. I think it's funny. Continuing up the mountain we go. One neat thing about this game is that almost all of it can be played with one hand. The L2 and L1 button. L2 and L1 buttons are used as accept and decline. So I can play almost the entire game with just one hand, which is really cool in my opinion. I've got a wind rune piece, which is similar to the thunder rune piece. Now, if I remember correctly, once I equip one of the rune pieces, I cannot equip another or attach it to my weapon. I cannot attach a different element. So if I put the wind rune, a wind piece on, I can't equip the thunder rune. And the more of them that I attach, the more damage that it will do. We are now at a halfway point through the mountains. Some of us want to continue, others of us want to stop because we've been hiking all day. So this not shady at all character has offered us some tea and rest. So we're going to sit here and drink our tea. I don't like anything bitter, so I'm going to say not if it's bitter. And I can hit this all day, but it won't do anything, so I'll just take a taste. Anyone who tells you to drink something 2, 3, 4 times probably isn't a good idea. But the tea is a Mount Tiger Wolf special called Robber's Tea. and that bitter taste is going to put us to sleep. We're all going to pass out here, and he's going to rob us blind. I guess he's okay with not running this inn forever, because as soon as we wake up, if he's still here, we would kill him. And I don't know anyone else who runs this inn, but a man named Kessler walks in, asks how everything is going. Ledden shows that he robbed us blind, but Kessler points out that that's Lady Odessa of the Liberation Army. These guys are friendly with the Liberation Army, so Ledden feels really bad. Now he's going to make an antidote, and we're going to wake up. Fool me once, can't be fooled again, as they say. So we wake up, and Lady Odessa, rather than being mad, she understands, hey, I should be more careful about that. Shows some growth. He lets us stay here for free. Victor doesn't take his head off. And we're going to walk outside and talk to these people. Ledden has learned his lesson. We are not members of the Liberation Army yet. Kessler says that Lady Odessa is doing a good thing, and we should protect her and help her. More banter. Cleo's always in a bad mood when we wake up. But time to get started with our day. Let's go. I really like the let go feature. However, I would rather just prefer if we didn't have to fight at all. Mobs that are too low for us. Although sometimes they do drop rare gems, which is good for us. We're almost done here. Just this treasure chest on the left, and then this right path up here will give us another treasure chest. Our clone crystal, which I'm not actually sure what it does. Pretty sure it's just a strong attack, 1.5 damage or 2.0 damage, and then I'm stunned for a turn. Almost always give it to Victor, because he, I think, is the only one in our party that can use it. Now that we have the Soul Eater rune on, Nemo can't use it. Grimio can't really attach stuff right now. I don't know why. And Odessa is not going to remain in our party the entire time. And Cleo already has the fire and walked around in a corner to a place I don't need to be. So let's go to the right place, which is the inn right here. This is where we're supposed to get our message, so we will stay at the inn. We spend a lot of time sleeping in inns and resting. I guess we're all lazy bums, but everyone's asleep except for Lady Odessa. We wake up. We'll come out on the patio and have a nice little conversation. Odessa is worried that too many people rely on her. She doesn't really know what to do. She asks us what we want to do, whether we want to join the Liberation Army or go back. Earlier she mentioned there's clearly some corruption going on. You can't be blind to it. Even though your father's a great general, you have to understand. The eyes of Nemo, that's what draws people to him. I understand, Nemo. I too have beautiful eyes. A man named Cage meets us in the middle of the night. Not sketchy at all. However, he wants to pick up the pattern for the fire spear for us, and Odessa quizzes him saying, how are Moses' pigeons? And he responds with, there are no pigeons. So, never betraying a contract, we give him the fire spear, and we'll go to bed. When we wake up the next morning, everyone will be informed that our mission is done, and Gremio will be curious, why were you missing? Why were you out of bed last night? That's twice our party members have accused us of doing risque things. Once with Leeknot and now once with Odessa. Which both are beautiful women. Shouldn't really complain. Now that we've accomplished our mission, we will go back across Mount Tiger Wolf. All the way back to Linen Camp, where we will turn in... Oh no, we will meet back up with the Liberation Army. Talk about our plans for the future. I could be fighting these things and helping Odessa level up, but as I just mentioned, she's not going to be in our party for very long, so it's not really important that she's high level at all. So we will continue to run. I also think I can use the escape talisman, but I'm not 100% sure which side of Mount Tiger Wolf it would take us to. So I'm just going to err on the side of caution and hoof it back down the mountain. Plus we get to see all these sights. Rocks and bunny rabbits with axes and rocks and oozes. And rocks. Alright, this is our last screen, I believe, and then we are home free. Good old overworld theme song. I wonder if people that design music for games like this spend as much time listening to this music as we do as players, as it is extremely important since we are in the overworld quite a bit. Music change. Now that we are back in the camp, we see that the innkeeper has been injured and the Imperials have come. Odessa foolishly rushes forward and doesn't even leave the clock door open for us. There's some stragglers still in here, so I will firestorm them, teach them a lesson. And continue forward. There was a scream, and Lady Odessa said, "Oh." Yet another fight. We will freewheel this one. It might be a little bit faster to use fire magic on Cleo. She'll one-shot a mob, but I think it's going to take us 2 turns to kill these guys anyway, so unlucky misses lead to a 3rd turn, but oh well. Odessa is on the ground. What happened? What happened? Oh, she was protecting a child. But she was shot. She says she's chosen to be a woman rather than a leader. She shouldn't have done what she did, but she couldn't help it. She couldn't let an innocent child be slain. She now has 2 requests for us. The first is to give her earring to a man called Matthew in a town that is south of the border. The second is going to be to throw her body in the stream. She doesn't want anyone to know that she is dead, because she thinks if everyone knows that, then the cause that she has been fighting for will be over, because she is their leader. Which is smart. It will lead to some trouble along the way, but it makes sense that that's what she wants. Luckily, none of the other members of the Liberation Army are here, because they might have died as well, but they also might have been able to save the camp. Who knows? Now that that is done, we must follow through with our promise to her. So we need to go to Saika, which is south of the Fortress of Quaba, which is the border of the Imperial capital, I guess, as you can utilize, or you can say that. Die, Bon Bon. So in order to get through the Fortress of Quaba, we are going to have to go in disguise. Ein Guide, I believe is his name. He actually is another member of the Imperial Army, one of the 5 or 6 generals. We're all coming up with unique names. Gremio will be Roy, Cleo will be Maria, and Victor will be Stoltenheim Reinbach III. Just a little elaborate. He's a juju vendor. And we will be Paisuke. Okay, let's go, boys and girls. Ein Guide being a friend of Tio, it's very certain that he will be able to recognize us. But he will tell us to say hi to our father once we leave. Now Gremio thinks fast and basically says that he will kill him, saying because he's been causing trouble, and getting in trouble being a fugitive, even though they're not actually sure it's him. So it's a pretty good act. Ein says that we look like a beggar, even though I think we look fantastic. He's going to let us pass. But like I said, he's going to tell us to say hello to our father. Or take good care of our father, sorry. Gremio is ready for any kind of punishment for acting the way that he did, even though it was to save our lives. I can say unforgivable there, but Cleo will say that we're just joking. Chandler is just a peddler. He is going to be the item shop or armor smith or armor salesman for our castle, once we get a castle. Now that we're in the town of Saika, we're looking for a man named Matthew. This is Matthew, but he's going to answer the question. He lives up here. Maybe I can just leave. Talk to him again. Nope, can't. Must talk to the children first. The children will inform us that he is out for a walk while they're doing homework. And now when we go back, he will reveal himself to be Matthew Silverberg. And if you remember, that is Odessa's last name, Odessa Silverberg. They are siblings. Matthew understands the last request means that she is dead. Victor defends her, and Matthew says that she was a fool for taking on the tasks that she took on. But we haven't given him the earring yet, so we need to go do that. He has nothing. He wants nothing to do with Odessa, so we'll leave. However, as we leave here, some Imperial guards are going to run by, and they are trying to recruit Matthew back into the Imperial army. Apparently, he was a strategist in the Imperial army back in the day. And they want him to go back, but he doesn't want anything to do with it. Again, he is not much of a fighter, and they're threatening to kill this, or they're threatening to take this boy to the mine. So we will step in and do the fighting for him. We are just some good guys passing by. Unfortunate dodges, but we'll kill him. It's also weird that we're fighting 3 and there were like 4 or 5 of them there. I thought. Maybe not. Maybe just 3. All of this killing in front of children. However, what this does is it makes Matthew realize that whether he closes his eyes or not, violence and all of these bad things are going to happen regardless. So he might as well do his job and help out the righteous cause. He's asking how Odessa explained who he is, and she just said he's some guy in Seika, and he decided to run away from his duties rather than face them, but now he's going to join us because he's been wooed by the Nemo eyes. The earring apparently has the map of all of the hideouts for the Liberation Army, and the owner of that earring is actually the leader of the Liberation Army. So Odessa gave it to Nemo to give to Matthew so that Matthew could realize that Nemo is the true leader of the Liberation Army, which is where we are. We will now be referred to as Master Nemo, leader of the Liberation Army. But we can't be the leader of the Liberation Army without having a castle. So Matthew happens to know where a castle is, and we're going to go find it and free it from the clutches of the evil dragon. It's to the west, so to the west we shall go. Our party is down to 4. Matthew will follow in a little bit. Our party is down to 4. So it's definitely not safe to fight a dragon with 4. Luckily, once we get over... Ooh, let's fight these flying raccoons. Flying squirrels. Once we get over to the city, we will recruit 2 more members. One of which is going to be Taiho. He's going to be the guy who has a boat and lets us sail. These guys are going to kill me. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Oop. Oop. Let's heal up. Maybe it's not a good idea to fight flying squirrels without using magic or any sort of strategy. This is a big fight. We will use deadly Fingers. So Deadly Fingers is a one-shot. Alright. So it's literally a death rune. It just kills whoever it hits. However, it doesn't work on bosses, so that sucks. Now, Victor has a bucket on his head. What a dummy. Let's finish this combat. Now we all have buckets on our head. Pretty sure that basically means we're blind. So everyone's going to attack the same thing in hopes to kill it, and Clea is going to use magic to kill it. Once we get to the next town, we're definitely going to have to rest to refresh our magic and HP. You just saw a really cool feature. Doesn't always come up all that often, but Gremio stepped in front of an attack that would have probably killed Nemo. And it would have, but it ended up killing him. So it's like basically a protect situation. I just got a holy rune, and I'm in a town that doesn't have a rune crafter. So here's Meg. She's looking for someone. His name is Juppo. He's a trickster. So I think once we find Juppo, we can come back and recruit Meg. We will stay here, refresh our magic and HP. And I'll be very sad that I don't have a rune master. So now we are here. We're going to talk to this character. This is Camille. Tai-Ho is the guy that we are looking for, but she gets distracted. She's looking for Gremio. She's a debt collector. Camille the she-devil. She's now found Gremio. She wants to pick up the debt. And she shows him a bill for a banquet that they had, and he needs to pay. He obviously doesn't have that type of money, so she's going to stay with us until we get that money. So we need to look for Tai-Ho. Once we found Tai-Ho, we can potentially get more money, so she's going to stay around, as I just said. She joins our party, and he frequents this place. The shopkeeper will inform us that he's usually downstairs. Not only do we see Tai-Ho, we see his brother Yamku. We want a boat to Torin Castle. And Tai-Ho says that we're crazy because there's tons of monsters there. But he's willing to gamble. So if we're willing to gamble, he will join us. So we're going to play another gambling game. This one, you can win way more money than you can in the other game. The other game is the cup game where it moves around a coin, and once you get it, you can only win 10,000 coins at a time. This one, you can bet, I believe, up to 10,000, but every time you win, you can let it ride, and you can double, triple your gold as it goes. So this is actually the best way, as the game progresses, to make a lot of money. But it's very risky, because you can lose as well. It's not just a free win. But it's a dice rolling game, and you roll 3 dice, and you have to get 2 of a kind, and the third number is going to be what your score is. So if you get a 226, you score a 6. The other person has to beat it. There are other rules, however. So a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6 are also happy numbers or special numbers. So he got a 4, 4, and a 3, so his score is a 3. So we have to beat a 3. If you throw it out of the cup, ooh, that's bad. We lose. I lost 3x monies, which is bad. So we have to win a gamble in order for him to go. So triple ones is bad. Triple, I believe anything else is good. You get 3 rolls. If in those 3 rolls you don't score, I believe the other person wins, but I don't know for sure. So he got a 2. Two, 3, 4 is nothing. Ooh, bad deuce. We lose. This is just silly. I'm gonna be broke. Oops. I guess I'm just gonna skip through here. I probably could read that to learn how to play. But I mostly know the rules. I just know triple ones are bad. Triples of anything else should be double. Triple sixes are triple. They pay me triple. And I think 4, 5, no, maybe 4, 5, 6 pays double. And 1, 2, 3 you lose double, something along those lines. I'm just gonna lose again. Oh my goodness. One day, boys and girls, we will have a boat, or we will be broke. Maybe should have saved before this. I only have two more attempts. I can beat a 2, right? I did it! Finally! We're rich again! So Taiho and Yamku are going to join us on our adventure. So we'll meet them over here by the docks, and they're going to sail us over to the Toran Castle. The boat's really bigger than it looks, guys. It's really much bigger than it looks. As we go to this castle, it doesn't look like much, but it's a castle. And as we recruit more people, the castle will get bigger. And I'm pretty sure every time we sail into the castle, after it has upgraded, we'll get this view again, and you get to see all of the changes that have been made to it. It's definitely in shambles. And Taiho is actually going to join us. Mostly because I think the game wants us to have 6 characters for the boss. But we will take every bit of help that we can get. Mega Medicine is 150, 300, something like that, heals. Both Camille and Taiho are M, so they can be front row or back row. Since I believe Gremio and Nemo are a little bit higher level with more defense. We'll leave them in the front for now. If you decide to play through this on your own, so there's one iteration that you can see where they just jumped up 2 levels and everyone else just got a little bit of experience. I need to hand over medicine to make room for toe shoes. That's a pretty big jump, right there. But if you guys decide to play this on your own, one thing to be aware of is that the Soul Eater is an auto kill on most monsters, but it doesn't work on bosses. So when you're grinding like this, anytime you see a mob that is kind of scary, until you get that boost of XP to level you to where you're going to be for these encounters, you should use the Soul Eater rune to one-shot those scary mobs. That way you just don't run the risk of dying and taking excessive damage. Saves you a little bit on consumables, so you don't have to buy medicine and stuff like that. But we're very rapidly approaching level 14. And I got very lucky there. I received a defense rune piece from that mob. And again, those are literally just stat increases. So it's pretty cool. This thing looks scary, so I'll have Nemo Thanos snap it. Just like that, its soul was eaten. Also, there are oftentimes hidden treasure chests or hidden paths in dungeons like this. So be aware of that. You will oftentimes see me running into a wall, trying to find out where the hidden stuff is at, because I don't always remember. And I know one character for sure is in one of the caves, and if you don't know where the hidden paths are or don't explore for the hidden paths, you can't get 108 characters. And that, again, that is what we are trying to do with this run. So you'll have to bear with me if I look like a doofus running into walls. I just picked up a pointed hat. And who do I want to equip it to? Maybe Cleo can't use it, so I will give it to Gremio. As you can see, the bag space is already getting pretty ridiculous. Luckily, once I get my castle, I can recruit a banker, I guess, that will allow me to store a bunch of items. It doesn't do me much good when I'm in the open world, but at least I can have a place for all of these extra medicines and stuff that I don't need, that I don't really want to sell just yet. Purple slime headbutt. $13.50. Getting all my money back. I think I missed a treasure chest. I think I missed a secret path in here, but I don't know for sure. I'm not going to backtrack because whatever it is, I'm not too terribly worried about. But we are at a save point, which indicates that a boss is coming up. So I will save it on the off chance that this boss kills me again. And then once we defeat the boss, we will then be the proud new owners of a castle. And that will be the end of today's session. I'm actually gonna waste a medicine to make sure he's full. So one thing you might notice looking at the screen is that Nemo actually has one level 2 spell, but when I go to use his rune, it doesn't show up as a usable spell. One neat thing about this game, specifically for the main character, he unlocks his magic spells through story. So once certain things happen, I will use the next level of the Soul Eater rune, and it will level up and give me a new spell. I think that might happen after fighting this dragon, but I don't remember. So we'll see. But that is one of the inhibiting factors about the main character, is he can have access to level 3 and level 4 magic spells but not be able to use them because we haven't progressed the story far enough. So these are the treasure chests that I thought this was the treasure chest I thought I missed. Oh, there's another one over here. I'm gonna try and run from these guys, even though I can't let them go. Yes, the best. So we just picked up 2 crystals. We picked up the hazy rune and the wind rune. Luke has the wind rune, which we saw earlier, but he didn't utilize it in any way that we get to. There's no teleport that I remember, and there's no summon earth golem. But once I get back to town, I will probably spend a little bit of time messing around with runes as I recruit characters. I'm not sure which characters I plan on using, so if you guys have played the game and have requests, let me know before I record the next part, and I can put those characters in my party. Otherwise, I'm just going to mix and match and just kind of play however I want to. I meant to drink up before I started this, but oh well, here we are. This guy's really annoying because he has a breath attack that hits everyone in the party, so we end up taking a lot of damage. I also usually equip Victor with the clone rune, which allows him to do I believe it's a 1.5 damage attack, but then he's stunned for a turn. But when you're stunned, you can use items. So usually I rotate with him to deal extra damage and then heal. Deal extra damage and then heal. But because I didn't do that, we are in trouble. Well, maybe not in trouble. We're just not going to... Not doing that pattern. So Gremio took a lot of damage. We're going to go ahead and heal with him. Nemo is faster than the dragon usually, so I'm having Nemo heal Gremio, and then Gremio heal Camille, because if he does that breath attack again, Camille and Cleo are going to be hurt. Since Cleo does the most damage because of her fire rune, she's going to be using that until she's out, so other people are going to have to heal her. That hurt. But I would much rather use much rather have the dragon use a single target attack rather than a AoE attack every day of the week. I know Victor and Gremio go after the dragon, so I'm actually going to have Gremio heal Victor again. And because Victor deals so much damage usually, I'm going to have him attack. So he's going to be similar to Cleo, where he's going to be attacking almost every single turn. Unless something goes terribly awry and he needs to throw up a heal. But we will rinse and repeat on heals plus fires plus auto attacks, and hopefully get this guy down in a couple more turns. My last run up till this point was really bad. The dragon did the breath attack 3 times in a row to start off, and multiple people died, so I had to try and do this with just 3 people, and it did not work out very well. All of these beautiful crits. I'm pretty sure we've got this one in the bag at this point. Now that Cleo is out of magic, she can heal. She's usually fast. It looks like the dragon was a little bit faster this turn, so we'll see how it goes. Everyone's good. Free will. Come on, crit. No crits. But insane RNG compared to last time. Everyone is getting single targeted, which is definitely optimal. Missing a giant dragon, not optimal. I think it's really close to dying. If Victor could ever make contact with it. So we're out of medicine. So this maybe could be bad. Gremio might be dead. Alright, we're backing up. Let's back up. Attack. Defend. Gremio. Victor. We're just going to do a lot of cross healing here. Just in case. We're still attacking. We're still doing... I actually think we're good to just all-out attack. think the boss is close enough to dying that we can get away with it. But that's a good way to... Definitely a good way to game over. Victor, my man, I need you to hit. I shouldn't be I shouldn't be mixing and matching my actions for the turn. But I am. Okay. We're all in here. We're gonna die. Good grief. Thank you, Taiho. So we lost out on a pretty significant chunk of experience, 2 levels, but we got a lightning crystal. The dragon was causing the fog. Camille with a great one-liner. That's what you get for acting tough after being dead. But we own the castle. White Castle. No, thank you. Nemo Castle. I'm not so conceited that I'm going to name it after myself. We're going to name it Lotus Castle. That seems to be a theme going around recently. That's our alt guild in World of Warcraft, so we'll stick with that. Dragon Castle is also pretty cool. And then they immediately call it the Castle of Toran. Conveniently, after we've killed the dragon, Matthew shows up. He said he was going to call us Master Nemo, but he just called us Commander Nemo. Don't know how I feel about that. Camille wants to get her money back. She's not really a member. Neither are Taiho and Yamku, but apparently they're just like, okay, we'll follow you. Leeknot teleports in to give us the great news that we've chosen to follow our own path, and she's brought us some gifts. One of which is going to be the Stone Tablet of Promise. That is going to show us the 108 stars. So anytime we are looking to see if how many people we are missing, it will tell us and to what they are. Weirdly enough, all of the stars have names, which I will maybe be able to look at it beforehand. Lady Leeknot is also bestowing upon us Luke, the Great Magician. And he seems okay with it right now. But she's going to leave again. And Gremio is quick to retort that she thinks that Lady Leeknot just got rid of a troublesome burden, referring to Luke. I believe the vessel is Taiho's ship. So the first place that Matthew wants us to go is to a town of Koan, to find a fellow named Lapont. We take a quick nap, and Gremio, as usual, comes to wake us up. He wants us to talk to Master Matthew about recruiting Lapont. But I'm going to make a pit stop up here at the tablet. Luke is in charge of the tablet, I guess, but I'm going to walk past him and just look at it. So you can see all of these Japanese names, and that is going to represent who is what. So we're missing, most of this is empty at the moment. We only have a few people, but it's a pretty cool feature. if I knew what these words translated into, it might actually tell me a little bit about the character that that star represents. But this is your stone tablet of 108 stars. If any of your characters die in one of the big combats, their name will become gray. And our goal for this game is to get 108 white named characters. You can always walk around and talk to the members of the castle. Apparently talking to Luke just does the same thing as looking at the statue. Matthew is who we will talk to in order to change our party. And then all these other characters will just have different things to say at different times. So I'm going to go to the... Ooh, do I have a save spot? I'm going to find a save spot. And that is... Okay. That's okay. Guess we have to do this, so stick around a little bit longer and then we'll call it. He wants to get down to business. He wants us to go find LaPont in the township of Koan. If we talk to him and say, hey, Matthew sent us, then he's sure to join. That's basically what he says. Nemo, certain characters will have to be in your party at certain times. So Victor and Cleo are joining our party right now. I'm going to go ahead and have all of the... So I'm going to put Luke in my party, and then who else do we want? Luke is a magician. That's why I want him in. He's got some cool wind magic, although I have some runes that I need to equip to people. And I really don't want all of these people. So Taiho and Yamku are brothers. They have a joint attack where the two of them will do a unite attack, similar to Gremio and Pawn. But I'll take Luke and I'll take Taiho. Why not? So now that we have our party completed, we can go ahead and leave. Gremio isn't going to stop us this time. Here we can talk to Camille. She will literally say that the entire game, I think. It's possible that we're about to lose a character because... Nope, that's later on. Oftentimes when we leave the town, there will be people waiting for us down here. If I remember correctly, Koan is to the east of Kaku, but we will worry about that later. Right now, I'm just going to come up here and go to an inn and save. So this will be our this will be the end of our first session. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for hanging out if you were on the stream. If you want to see the uncut version of any of my playthroughs, you can find them on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/RudigerDude. I will try and put it in the comments below, or the description below. I'm a YouTube noob, so we'll see how that works. We're sitting at 2 hours and 16 seconds, which is very, very, very slow for what we've done. But moving forward, hopefully it will speed up a little bit. Not only did we pick up that holy rune, which gives us move speed in the maps, but I'm also not going to be grinding for stuff. So some of this is going to be cut out for some of it was cut out for the YouTube video. because of the fact that I was just grinding trying to get the Holy Crystal and failed to do so. But that will be it for now. Thanks for coming and spending some time with me. If you have any feedback, please let me know. As I am new to this type of thing, it's just something I've wanted to do for a while. Streaming and YouTube videos kind of go hand in hand at this point in time. And any advice or comments, also if there's something you want to see in a future video, if there's a game you want me to play, let me know. I have a couple on the docket as of right now, but as I said, this will be the end of segment 1, and we will have segment 2 up shortly. Stay tuned for that.